it was amazing, to say the least. And I want to challenge you, after the session is done, I don't know whether you do work things if you're not at work, but that's calling as well. So Baza is about Ebenezer, I'm sure you'll be able to explain, am I right? Okay, she's willing to do that. I would wish that all of us could attend the program here at TMG. I'm not a marketer of anything, but I just want to encourage us to attend the program and see what other people are. Maybe you want to be an IT expert, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you have to stand somewhere where things are happening. You are later and you begin to think in different terms. So I encourage us to attend that as well. There's another program that I would also want to Tony Elemelu Foundation. It's run by a Nigerian guy called Tony Elemelu. 1,000 entrepreneurs every year get $5,000 as seed capital, and then $5,000 when you prove your concept. What do you have to do to be part of that program? You apply every year in January, between January 1 and I think about 18 February. Submit your idea. Even if you do not have a shop, if you have an idea that you think can work, you just go to the website, Tony Elemelu Foundation. If you go sign up, and you are going to have a form, they're going to do some ranking, and then 1,000 entrepreneurs from different parts of Africa are selected, and then you get $10 each. So it means that if Tony is giving away 10,000 each, he might be giving away something like 100 after 10 years. That's 1%. So I was talking to Brighton yesterday, about attendance in the city. If there are two people that are in a place, it's worth working. Even one person, a lot of people to change things. In fact, a lot of people can actually introduce problems at times. So sometimes it's worthwhile. So I encourage you to go to Tony Elemelu Foundation. Why? You're also going to register there as a member as well. I'm not a marketer of Tony Elemelu Foundation as well, but go there and you're going to find some research on agriculture, a research on development in Africa, a research on that are happening. That's the Jack Lapan. Suppose you aspire to be a lawyer or something, or to work in government or public work, I want to encourage you to visit globalwitness.com. Global Witness is talking about what's happening in Africa, what happened in Africa. Even the Zimbabwean diamonds are somewhere there within Global Witness, so that you do not go around with chinga. 15 billion. So let's get ourselves informed. Let's get ourselves informed. Can I do something that is totally anti-workshop? I wanted to take 5 minutes for us to just say out a prayer to God. In workshop, we prefer that people use their minds and we do the spiritual aspects at their own time. But I really go around encouraging people to pray for this country. Zimbabwe is at a place where our analysis fails us. Economic model that we know, that we can reconcile. 1929, Great Depression, every world crash, whatever. Nothing makes sense. We've been through that. And we are now a case study. You see, if you come across you have to document every step of the way, so that next time we find it, we have an idea. That's our situation. But these things are not going to be solved simply by just gossip, talking. We have got to pray. I want to encourage that. I want to encourage us to pray. There's a PR poster at the door, Lapan, and I wonder how many people have registered to vote. Now, a lot of people will tell you that I do not vote because it doesn't change anything. Auntie, now that's a smart answer, is it? If someone only bow, very big person, are you going to say, I am not going to struggle because he looks fairly bigger than I am, so there is no need for me to struggle? If a snake appears, you are going to try something. You can't say the snake is big based on my understanding of the snake and its history, and because of its whatever, I am not surviving. No. You do something. So I want to challenge people. I think registering is still open, is it? Go and register to vote. Go and spoil the vote if you want to, but do something. Don't sit there and not care. Because our lives are run by other people. And if you are given an opportunity to speak, don't throw it away. So I do not want to say heavier words that, as I have even in my church, my pastor saying, But I want to encourage you to partake of what's happening. If you're a business person, you know that politics is very important in your environment. It's very important because they'll make policies that will determine how much money you are charged at the border, how SMEs are run, registration of companies. Everything will fall on those people. Most of them have no idea how things work. So we have got to have a say. If you don't know who to vote for, go and register. You think about it later. Or go and pray first. Do something, but don't stop the register. I want to thank pastors that are here. I believe they are the guardians of our souls. God will require an account for them. I think there are two people in the world, they have a tough job, CEOs and pastors. It's a terrible, terrible plane out there. But they keep working and they keep encouraging us. And appreciate it, and I've seen it in my life, and I know they have an impact in your life too. We are going to talk about, or should we pray at the end because I wanted us to have 5 minutes to just say a prayer to God for our country. Kickstart someone who's never prayed for this country as well. To care. Okay, we will do it so the MC will see what will happen. And I'm innocent there. I'm a student at UNISA. I'm finishing off, going to a master's honors master's program. What has been the most important part of my learning is the transformation that's happening in my mind and in my heart. Every time I do a module, I find people to try it out on. If it's marketing, I'll find someone who's selling things and say, can I please try and market them for you? If it's customer relationship management, I'll look for an organization and try to improve customer relationship management. That's education for me. I also am responsible for a school, adult school, Quality Meta College. There's a transformation club inside, the motivational club. At Meta College is a school where moms learn besides their daughters, and where I think there's some family where we have taught 6 people in the same family, and your malume, until if you walk into that family, there's attention because they right. And for me, education for me has been one of the most beautiful things we can allow you to do, because you watch people change of the way. It started from scratch. We've been able to reach more than 500 people at a personal level who didn't have full O-levels. Our purpose is to get adults to get full O-level certificates, and after that, we help you map out your way into a career and something. And most of what I am today is because of those people. Most of what I am today is because of them. I didn't quit on finishing my qualification despite that I had challenges. I had spinal problems, spina bifida, occulta, and that meant that 80% of the time you are not going to walk afterwards. But there are some people that I looked at with the challenges that they have, and they inspired me to go on and to wake up and say, I can do anything. I can do anything. And I have seen other people trust God for things that I was encouraging them, not even having a slightest idea of whether God will answer or not, and they had faith. So I'm going to bring challenges to us today. Engifisa ukwenza namhla ukuthi nginqangile ndungu ukuchaya ngayo la ungathi ku10 uyakususukumile kodwa anyway auntie. Right. I want us to look at Matthew 25 verse 14 to 15. I'm going to use this to develop my case. Starting on Matthew 25 verse 14 and 15. I'll take a biblical reference. Give me the Bible is amazing. I was going to encourage you to read the book of Proverbs, but read the book of Proverbs. There is no financial concept whatsoever that you're not going to find in the Bible. It's the most profound book ever. And about you can't prove the Bible, it means they are very ignorant, because it can be proven. Matthew 25 verse 14 to 15. Again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by a story of a man going on a trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it. The last part, Leon. Dividing it. Then he left on his trip. That part has changed my life. He gave to one 5 bags, 2 bags, and to one 1 bag. That was not fair. And I ask people, is God fair? They will say, be fair. That was not fair. God doesn't need to be fair because he's just. Fair means the same amount, justice means the right amount. So, in other words, you can claim that you want to be given as much as I have been given, but kuthiwa according to their abilities. So, in other words, when it comes to whether it's business, whether whatever sequenza, it's according to our abilities. Someone is complaining and saying the type of problems that I'm having are too much. It's according to your abilities. So sometimes if you want to measure how high you can perform, just look at the type of trouble that you have in your life. If you think it's too much, know that there's too much inside of you as well. Because it's in accordance to their abilities. He gave to one 5 talents, 2 talents, and 1 talent according to what they could handle. In other words, I can handle what I am in. Unkulunkulu, George Zaluki says that God didn't make some losers, some winners and losers. Can you imagine? And then he puts some losers on earth and says, just try something. Lani surprise me, Zamani. Go guys, best of luck. He doesn't. He puts a person in accordance to where he wants them to be found. So today, I'm so as complicated, but ngizazama for us to revise the basic things that we know. See, the path of success or making money or whatever, the things are so obvious. You've got to work hard for you not to get them right. There's so much that's talked about success that for you to miss it, you've got to put energy even to miss it. If you want to lose weight, what do? They will tell you, eat this, don't do that, don't do that. You want to succeed, save money. If you make money, don't eat it. Is that difficult to understand? No, you stop eating money, it starts growing. You keep eating it, it will not grow. Simple concepts. But we are up on eating anyway. And we are wondering why it's not growing. Remember that guy says that you take a hyena and you lock it up with goats and you are wondering where your goat's going to. But you are the one who locked up a hyena with some goats. You see? So in other words, I want us to go over the basics. The most important thing for me at this time is action. I do not want to talk about the same thing 2 or 3 times. It must be acted on. In other words, if we come here and sit here and we discuss, now there was an announcement about forever living products should be network marketing. And when we leave this place, you must find out what it is. What is it? What can it do for me? And what can I achieve through it? And if you stop procrastinating and start doing it, it means they can start giving you money. So to me, the most important thing now is what? Action. One time, I say packet center and they were looking for some office space. And it wasn't my conversation, totally not mine. I was eavesdropping because there were some interesting things in the conversation. Omunye ufuna ukuyenza clothing shop so yabuza laphana lokuthi clothing shop vela yenza vela kula mali vela kutheni kungathangani auntie. And then I broke the conversation and I asked her, I said, do you sell fashion clothes? She said no. Do you have a relative that sells them? No. Do you have a friend that sells them? No. Do you understand how it works? Said no. Said then get lost. When I call this business leg, the best thing that can happen to us is when we lose money and we know why. Losing money is not a nightmare because you've lost money in your life. Without you thinking about it. But when you lose it, do you know why you lost it? I would rather live a life full of steps where I fell than to live a life of safety and I never achieved anything at all. And so other people are afraid of death. You can't even get out of life alive. You've got to die to live it. So either way, you are going to lose in any case. We are not suspecting that we will die. We are not thinking that maybe we know we will die. We expect to, if Jesus tarries according to his grace, we expect to die. And that is not a problem. That should bring up solutions because we know we're not here for a long time. Let's look at how people buy cars. When you are buying a car, when you are buying a car, what do you look at? It's always interesting to watch women talk about cars and buying cars, aren't you? What do you look at? BMW. Auntie, you know that the person doesn't really know anything about cars. And if there's a salesman and is a salesman who's dishonest, is going to make a killing out of them. Okay, so when you are buying a car, what you are interested in, what is it that you are interested in? Can I hear? Yebo, emuva. The type of car, okay? Omnutin? The engine. The engine. Because the engine determines the performance of the car. The engine is everything to a car. So there are cars like, Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz is a class on its own. There are cars like Mercedes-Benz. And then there are cars like Toyota. They take about maybe 3 days or 4 days to make one, using about 36 robots or so. Ferrari takes 36 hours just to hand knit the interior. Rolls-Royce takes about, I think, 32 days just for you to coat the painting of the car. Not to make anything, just for the coating of the painting. But the real value of the car is in the engine. And you see, so the measure of anything is horsepower. If you look at Esing's motor, you get something like 1,000, whatever, 2,000 horsepower. There are 6,000 horses under that bonnet. In other words, if you are driving on that Mercedes-Benz, it means that there are 6,000 horses that are pulling in that engine, that are running at full capacity inside that bonnet. And the car has got some capacities too, because things have changed. We no longer buy cars just for the engine, we buy them also for appearance and comfort. And they've got functions. And my question to you is, what is under your bonnet? Because we don't really know what we look like, because what we look like is inside. Genesis 1:26 was quoted that let us make men in our image, likeness, and what. God doesn't necessarily look facially like all of us here. It's inside. It is the person inside. So when what's inside of you, how many horses are under that bonnet of yours that have never been used? Never ever been woken up. Because we've got people that have got horses, they don't even know how to run anymore. You know what happens with horses? If you keep them locked up, the next thing that they might even break or something like that, and when you let them go, they run. Why? Because they are created with some form of adrenaline different from ours. If it gets up to its level or its threshold, it must run just to release inchugunchu. So which means that we've got a lot of things inside of our lives. The engine is all that matters. I used to have a car that I do not talk a lot about because it didn't look nice. And it didn't look nice, serious, not a bit, but nice, serious. It was ugly, I'll tell you. Someone said, when I said, but underneath that car, we rewired the whole system. We changed the posture, the bearings, everything. The electrical system was rewired. Everything was changed except for the appearance. So one time, such as we were working somewhere at 11, and everyone is making fun of my car. Then now it's time to go. Goes alive. The lights go on. How? Because they underestimated what was inside. If people that have got an understanding of how life works know that value is always hidden at somewhere. You don't find it. Precious things are not found in the open. So to challenge you to say that how you look like is not really important. I mean, who cares? How you look like is not really, really important. I'm serious. It doesn't matter. People that care, some will say have a big nose or small nose or whatever. You are breathing. It doesn't make a difference. How you look like is none of your business because you didn't contribute to it. I know I'm vertically advantaged. Some people say I'm too tall. I said, why do you say too? Who say that maybe when I'm too short? How do you know? Because we didn't choose it. So why worry about things you didn't choose? We are wasting time. You should worry about things that you can choose. So sometimes in cars, they can look like that. Now, that car has got a function. If someone calls you, you can press on the steering. You don't need to have an accident, and it can answer the call. That car has got a voice recognition system that can talk to you. If you want to call someone, you say, call Stuart, and it will call Stuart. Don't have to get a phone on your hands. That car has got something called automotive self-driving compliance, which means that if you fall asleep, you can tell it, I live in Makwekwe North, or I live in Selborne Park, it's such a place. Google, take me there. It will drive you until it stops at your gate. If it's remote controlled, the gate will open from the signal in the car, and you'll find yourself parked in the morning. Now, if you don't know where to press, it doesn't make a difference. Mina ngizakudlula lamadonki ami ngiyangena ngiyelala ngikhaya wena uzalala usegangeni because you don't know where to press. There are some people that were using some machine somewhere in Africa for a long time, creating jobs, and there were 10,000 jobs there, and the machine died. So this guy had been working on the machine for 20 years. And then they brought the Japanese. The Japanese are always the first one. Then the Chinese with some non-genuine parts. Then the Germans with parts that never die. And then, everyone came there. And they failed. This man said, can I look at the machine? I've worked on this machine for 20 years. They said, no, you can't. You are just a general hand, a gentleman. You can't do it. They said, can I please look at it? He said, no, you can't. He was a poor man. And then after some time, they got down drilling the machine and messing it up. They said, okay, you can look at it, whatever, we don't care, just whatever. Before saying, okay, look at it. The guy walks over and opens the valve system of the machine. Powerful machine, 10,000 jobs on the line. Everyone is prepared to go home. Then he says, hand me a teaspoon. They handed him a teaspoon. He looks for the key valve and he knocks it 3 times with a teaspoon. Says, turn on the machine. They said, no, the machine is dead. Everyone failed. You are not educated. He went over, he booted the machine and it went alive. I said, how did you know? He said, I know this machine in and out. I've been working on this thing for 20 years. I said, what is your charge? He said, my charge is $1 million. I said, $1 million for hitting with a teaspoon. He says, no. It's $1 for hitting with a teaspoon. But the 999,000 is for knowing where to hit with a teaspoon. You see? So it doesn't matter what you are, what the education you have, whatever. I'll talk about it shortly. But you have to be innovative. You've got to take yourself seriously. So if the car can do that stuff and you don't know, you are not going to take advantage of it. There's something called a demystifier on that car. I was shocked to see it. You do accidents. If you say demystifying on, it will turn on the demystifying function. Such that there is no fog. You can drive in safely. Innovation. They are not just working hard, they are working smart. Which is the richest place in the world? This has been quoted and I'm very grateful for that. This is Miles Monroe said the richest place in the world is not the gold fields of South Africa. It's not the oil fields in Iran. It's not uranium deposit beyond the seas or Wall Street in America. There's about $3 trillion that's traded on the stock exchange. Am I right? About 3 trillion on a regular basis. And that's not the richest place in the world. It has been said. And I think of this every time be said to say, how can my life count? Because the richest place in the world is what? The graveyard. 2 days ago, I was telling someone, says, I have problems. What? I said, I have a solution. I found a place where people are so rich, they are stinking rich, they don't have a problem. They are dead. 1, they are rich. 2, they don't have problems. 3, they have no worries. Do you want me to take it to such a place? He says, that sounds good. I said, you can go, it's number 6 or Selborne Park, or we can go to, what is the other one? Or West Park. They have no problem. They don't mind. Someone says, you're ugly, whatever. To them, it doesn't make a difference. They are dead. The richest place in the graveyard because of songs never written, comfort never given, inventions never created, books that were never written, profits never made, dreams that never saw the light of day. And I believe that the cure for HIV, now we've got this one that they are suggesting, but it's still not a breakthrough. I believe the cure for HIV is somewhere in some cemetery. Because someone looked at themselves and says, Mina umama wafunde nasty. Ngingayenza into zayehlula uprofessor what Van Kubrendorf yena wamehlula mina ngawukwanisa, and they went to the grave despising themselves. There's treasure in you. There is treasure in your life. At some point, I recall, I also work with the Oasis Trust, and we went to deep parts of Cholo, close to the border. And we were distributing clothes, food, and stuff like that for Christmas. And the children don't go to school because it's about 38 kilometers. So if you go to school, you stay there for 3 or 4 days and then come back. 60% of the time is lost. 40% of their schooling time for girls is lost because of menstrual periods. They do not have sanitary pads. Maybe you can afford them, but there are situations that are bad. You think your situation is bad, try some other places. And I looked at one girl at Babulunan. I think she was 15 thereabout. And I was talking to Pastor Polite and I was saying, there is a baby looking after a baby. That girl doesn't know what it means like to express her dreams and herself and have a free spirit. It's a child looking after a child. And as long as things keep on this way, I thought of what she could become in her life. I might have been standing next to an accountant, an inventor, a computer programmer, whatever it was, a nurse. They'll never become that. If those circumstances do not change, I know that girl will never become that. She'll grow up to be like the others, have 1, 2, 3 babies, and then give up on life and wait to die. What else is there? But then I made my commitment. I said I can make a difference. And we can make a difference. Before you start telling us that you want to make a lot of money, what do you want it for? What do you want it for? You want $1 million. What for? On a serious note, what for? So that I can buy a car, buy a Mercedes-Benz like that one, then what? The purpose of a job is not money, it's work. Release of potential that has been given to us. So you've got people that are talking about the MD and the HR because she's like what knows and stuff like that, and so on. You know that, and they are gossiping about everyone. And the worst thing about gossips, they know everything about everyone and nothing about themselves. So, before you start saying you have a bad situation, I've seen worse. Before you start saying, I have a West, when I went for the spinal, to attend the doctor for the spinal issues and stuff like that, I said that I couldn't even sit up straight. So I'm sitting up there and there's a guy with broken limbs, six in 6 places. He can't even move and he couldn't even afford the medical care. I said, thank God that this is not even a worse situation. I could be complaining, but someone has it worse, and it's not an excuse. Medical news today says the female life expectancy has dropped by 2 years. That's World Health Organization. It's not me. It's not a Bible. It's just common news. So if you're a female, given the stress that you're under, the amount of food you're eating in a third world country like Zimbabwe, the type of politics where you've got, what is happening, and so forth, you're expected to live now 2 years younger. And this is not anyone engineering. This is a trend. Auntie, before you start rebuking the trend, please hold there. Don't rebuke it. I refuse this. Wait. Before we start dealing with that whole issue. The woman is now expected to live 34. And then the male is expected to live 37. Now, this should not be you and I. We have a promise in God. But I'm saying, suppose that by some whatever situation it happens that you are part of these statistics. What have you done that you can carry and say, I'm checking out of this world, it's enough. I have done enough. I'm not wishing that you be part of that statistics, and neither are the people who are part of the statistics. They didn't wish to be part of it, but they found themselves in it. Death is not the worst thing that can happen to men. It's not the worst thing. I'll show you what is the worst thing as we go shortly. So it means that if life expectancy is 34 for females and it's fallen by 2 years, and 37 for males, my question to you is, if you live up to being 37 and then you die, are you going to continue to live the days that you have now the way you are going to live them? Tomorrow is Sunday, and then we've got a Monday, then a Tuesday. If the angel of death visits you, that won't happen, visits you and says, we are going to take your life on Monday. You are going, it's enough, put your house in order. Are you going to do Sunday like you are going to do it tomorrow? Are you going to do Monday like you are going to do it on Monday? Are you going to do the same things the same way? Are you going to converse with the same people or give Abantu the same amount of time that you're going to give them? When we spoke about time, I think it's important not whether to mention the time value of money. That time is measured in terms of its value. There are other people who, when they do some certain things, they earn $200 per second or per minute. And you need to know your time value of money. Your contract will tell you, we pay such and such for you for an hour. And you can't improve yourself until you know that how much is your hour worth. Then if you are increasing your value, you are increasing the value of your hour. Because it means that you are saying per hour, I'm worth this. Then I want to increase my value an hour. If I earn $10 an hour, I want to make 20. So I'm going to attend Forever Living Products. They are going to teach me network marketing skills. I can make an extra 5. Then I can go there and find out what she's doing. I can make an extra 2 and an extra 1 and an extra 1. There I've got my $20 per hour. You've got to be strategic in your thinking. I love this picture so much. Sometimes I put it on and off and just look at it. I'm living the potential. This is what we are born with. If every one of those small circles represents our dreams, this is as much as every one of us. That's how much we have. If they represent business ideas, that's how much you are born with. If they represent potential, that's how much you have. Unlimited potential. Because you came from an unlimited being. Second one, which is my favorite, happens billions of times before. Most of you have seen this photo, but I think privileged and related to it. This man was young, he was very young, he was serious, and he thought that one day I'll get a diamond, this is my opportunity. And somehow he gave up. He thought that it's not going to happen. Someone told him, no, you can't do it. You have tried hard enough, you can go back home. He said, it made me cry because it related to my life opportunities that I've lost. How many of your life's opportunities are like that one? Think about it for a moment. How many things did you say, I think this will not work? You didn't even pray about it, ask God about it, just threw it away because your business analysis told you something? Or how many things did you analyze using your business analysis and you lost money? Not all money that is lost should have been lost, by the way. Not all money that is lost is for learning purposes. Some of it is because of negligence and some of it is irresponsibility. Entrepreneurship is not taking a risk. No, it's taking a calculated risk. It must be calculated. The tragedy in men is not their death, like I said, but that something dies in them while they are alive. A dream dies. Or a loved one passes away and they say, no, I can never become that. It's lost, it's gone. They give up. My question is, if you are giving up on what you are doing, then to what? To what? What else can you give up for? If something is not worth dying for, why are you spending your life living for it? You need to think somehow and say, how many things have died in me? I was jotting down in my notes as she was talking about the 5 Ps. That what are the things in my past that I need to revisit and find that they are dead and make sure they come back to life? We need to think about these things. Do you have a dream? Now, it's interesting that you discover how many people think they are not good at anything. I'm serious. There are people who think that they are not good at anything. I'm glad it's real. They just think they are not good at anything. There's nothing that they can do above all the other people. So they read about Mark Zuckerberg, about all the other big shots, the big names, the investing gurus and so forth. And in their minds, they are not really learning. They are doing some hero worship of some sort because they are bowing at somebody else's altar because they are candidates for such things. They just think they are not good at anything. And when you were kids, you would actually watch Superman and then you go and get yourself a cape and get one of your legs broken. Jumping off a building like the Power Rangers, then you broke one of your feet. You discovered that it only happens on TV. But it doesn't only happen on TV, it can happen in real life. Because if someone can think it on a screen, then it has to exist somehow. So dare to dream. Dare to have a dream and say, you see, when it comes to our dreams, we must be clear about them. Must be stuff that when someone wakes you up and say, what do you want to achieve in your life? You tell them right on, this is what I want to do. Someone looked me up and said, what do you want to achieve? I said, I want to create jobs. Says, you really want to create what? I said, I want to create jobs. For my countrymen, I love my country. I'm patriotic. I love my country. It's close to my heart. Says, what's your biggest problem? It's poverty that I see. And how do we address it? Say, we will create jobs. And if we create jobs, we can tell people who they are and that they manifest their greatness. Being white doesn't mean extra brains. No, it doesn't mean so. And being black doesn't mean you are in darkness. It doesn't mean that. We have got to take responsibility. So we must dare to dream. We must dare to dream. We must dare to start somewhere. We must dare, because dreams, you don't pay anything to dream. You just sit there and dream. You just have to have some quiet time. And some of us, we get alone. We're afraid of being alone because we're not achieving anything. So we get a phone. And then you see all those texts in those groups. How? And some people are on WhatsApp and Facebook as if they are getting paid dividends for it. Did you know that if you stopped using Facebook today, take whatever money that you have and buy one share of Facebook? Just one share of Facebook. In about 3 to 4 years, according to how it's trending and stuff like that, just learn a little bit about that, you actually might make so much money in your life from just buying the shares and not just using it yourself. Do you get paid for being on WhatsApp? If you're not getting paid for those things, then use it as a marketing platform. It's almost free, to say the least. Almost free. I want to challenge you to dare to dream. Dare to dream. Sit down and think, who am I? What do I want to do with my life? I must have a deliberate place where I'm going to. I'm not just going to wake up and say, someone said if you take a bow and arrow and you stretch it and you turn in circles, don't just hit anything and say, I was aiming for it. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Because you don't know where you are going. One step in the right direction is better than 100 steps in the wrong one. If you don't know where you are going, any road can get you anywhere. And you and I don't want anything. Seriously. Maybe your dream is to solve the economic problems of Africa. I've spoken about creating jobs. I've spoken about causing change. Now, when I'm talking about creating jobs and I put a chart like this, other people just say, I'm not going to look at that. This is about the billions and about the politicians and what. No. Your money is in there. Some of your money is in there. If you dream of having a business one day, let me tell you something. To preach the gospel, it costs everything. Even salvation didn't come for free. Jesus had to pay for it on a cross. Nothing comes for free. There's no free lunch. You don't just get anything for free. And once we understand that, and that money in itself is not value. Money is not value. Money is a piece of paper that's written value on it. So you've got a lot of money. If you still can keep your money, you do not have a lot. Let me just say the list. You don't have a lot of it because money is like water. It flows. And you and I cannot keep a lot of water in one place. You can't own a dam in your backyard. So because money flows, while you can't hoard it and keep it, you have to direct its flow. and make sure it flows to where you want it to flow to. So other people have got money in their pockets. It's not value. There's inflation, can depreciate whatsoever. But we know that value comes in exchange. If you've got a product or you create value, you exchange it, you are given profit. When I talk about small business, my passion is small business. It's about somebody buying a pack of sweets and starting to sell them. Onias, I think he's in Harare now. He once did a workshop in our church. When he started his business, he works for Insco, he's now a chief accountant there, and so forth. But he says, when I started off my business, grew up in Makaya, betting sheet, lama flowers, how betting sheets rip apart, that's what happened to him in town. And someone meets him, and he says, I gave him 2 cabbages. He said, I've got an idea. He went around, he saw them for profit, came and bought 4. He saw them for profit, he went and bought 6 hens ekhaya. Inkukhu ezibekelayo, I usually don't buy things that do not reproduce. If it's a dog, it mustn't be a male. No, we want products. So he went and bought some certain items, and then inkukhu zakhula zaba zimbuzi, imbuzi zakhula zaba zinkomo, and then he couldn't afford an education, and then he could send himself to bookkeeping. So it was bookkeeping back then, bookkeeping courses, and then he started working for Insco, and today is where he is. And some of us look at where we are today and we say that if I had better situations, I would perform better. Your problems are culture made and designed by God to bring out the best ingredients out of you. They are going to make you what you need to be. Now, my father passed away when I was in Form 2. My mother was taking care of my sister. She had this big dream, which I disliked at the moment because it meant she's going to school of mines, no money for me. And in her first year, my mother was widowed. She couldn't pay. In her first year, just went by faith. In the second year, she got a scholarship. So she was paying for my next sister, and I had to see A-level on my own and make ends meet. And I learned something in life, and I was talking to Brighton yesterday and said, if there's anything I do not need that at all, even an ounce of it. I don't want it. It's comforting at times. But challenge because it puts you in a comfort zone. One time, some people brought some certain items, but things worth $4,000, $3,500 before dollars were even common here. None of those things belonged to us. And robbers came by night and took everything, including things that we had. And this other guy shows up and says, I'm sorry, and I asked him, were you robbed at night yesterday? No. Did your neighbors get robbed? No. Did the other ones get robbed? No. Then I don't understand. There's no facts in this. Don't try to get me to cry and sit down here. I'm going to start over and do something with my life. Maybe your dream is I wanted to talk about this 192 billions out of Africa every year. 92 billions out of Africa each year, and we only get 30 billion. That's how much money we get in exchange. But we give the rest of the world 192 billion. And part of the people that we're giving, the USA has got a budget of 2.4 trillion every year. They budget 2.4 trillion. South Africa is at around 60 billion US dollars and so forth. We are at 4.5 billion. That's our national budget. 4.5 billion for 16 million people. 4.5 billion. There's something wrong with those numbers. Luxembourg is almost the size of Bulawayo. It has more GDP, more money than all of UK combined. So it tells you that it doesn't matter how many of you there are. Nigeria is 181 million people. 181.4 million people. South Africa is 54, so Nigeria is 3.5 times bigger than South Africa, but South Africa is leading the economy. Doesn't matter how many people you have. If they have nothing in their heads, there's nothing that's going to work. It's ideas that drive the world. Ideas that drive the world. And for you, and it's my beginning to talk to people that are saved. Because see, the originator of ideas is God. And some of us are very lazy on praying and talking to the Holy Spirit and stuff like that. I have seen crazy ideas that come through because of God. Ideas drive the world. Advantages about and they are given ideas. The guy who made the Canon printer, he sat down with a couple of other guys that were astrologers and so forth, and he said, I want to make something great of my life. And he called forth the spirit of Hitler and Mussolini, and he said, give me forth ideas, forces. And they instructed him on how to make a printer, the Canon one. So if people can do that to influence the business world, what should we do with God? Because see, we need money for the gospel. There's a guy in Mensa Waterbill's church, he bought a satellite. He's been listening to all this teaching. You must listen to it again and again until it becomes a part of you. He bought a satellite. So the first thing that he did, there were 19 pornographic channels that were going to the Middle East. He scraped them off, put them out of business. No binding, no whatever, just put them out of business, buy the whole thing. We need to move, and we need to move fast. And if we are going to do that, we are going to need some money. Where did you get that from? The Bible says there are two things that are a shelter. It's wisdom and money. The money can get you almost anything. He said almost anything, but only wisdom can save your life. But it didn't dispute the fact that money can get almost anything. Someone says money is not important, but it's somewhere right up there with oxygen in importance. 192 billion out of Africa. And what are we going to do about this? Maybe your dream is to stop corruption. You and I have been hurt by this. Maybe your dream is to stop it. Maybe your dream is to provide sustainable energy to prevent the lives or to preserve the lives of future generations. We are not supposed to be burning fossils on a daily basis. Now we've got bituminous coal, ewange, a rare type of coal, and we keep burning it. And it's estimated that if we continue burning coal and oil the way we are doing, in year 2050 we'll officially run out of all forms of fossil fuels. What are we doing about it? They're looking for business opportunities. Maybe you've learned a lot at school and stuff like that. Why don't you go and look at the solar technologies that they're inventing in the Middle East and what Israel is up to? Go and look at what the country of Israel is doing. All the lights are solar powered. Russia has about 76% of its energy coming from nuclear energy. They're not burning coal anymore. They don't need our coal anymore. And so we are stuck up with coal. What do you do with coal? Maybe yours is to create jobs, and I put that picture intentionally. Did you know that creating money, we don't care how you create it. It has to be legal, of course. How you create it doesn't matter. What we want is the value. If you've got to go on fowl runs, chicken runs, and feed some chickens, and get them going for you to make money, please do so. If you've got to buy some chocolate and sell it on a daily basis, do so. And very soon you discover that it doesn't matter what you are selling. What matters is how you sell it. You can sell anything. I have a friend of mine. He says that I want to sell ice to the Eskimos. I said, you are very ambitious. He says, I'll sell ice to the Eskimos. That's how good I want to become. And he's a good marketer. He says, I can sell anything. Can you sell anything? Can you sell anything? Because it doesn't matter. Ultimately, you discover that business, as you grow in business, we start with your passion, with what you love and what you desire. You keep that working, and the Bible tells in Ecclesiastes that do not take your bread and scatter it over many waters. In other words, many streams of revenue. Invest in different places, for you do not know which one will prosper or fail. If you are at school, you can bake scones, start baking them. If you are at school and you've got some IT information, charge people for fixing their stuff and make some money. And make some money, because you can only learn about business properly by being in business. Not about sitting and getting a degree. Degrees don't do jobs. You need one, and I'll explain why you may need one, but it's not a necessity for you to succeed in life. You may not have a degree, so what? We need to understand what education is then. Maybe your plan is to protect animals. Needs to be saved, because it's part of God's creations. If people keep cutting trees and stuff like that, there are terrible things that will happen. So that guy needs to be saved. This guy's passion is animals. Maybe yours is to be a great scientist. I don't know what your passion is. I don't know what your passion is. If they continue burning those chickens, it means that the anthrax, whatever, that bird flu cannot get to people. They are saving lives. What is your passion? I don't know. Maybe yours is to be a great teacher and revolutionize the classroom. It's got something called an interactive board. He can teach anything at that moment from the internet. He can get any video, anything that he needs to explain. He just clicks on his board, the internet will avail him with one. That's a transformation in education. Don't tell people about your dreams, show them. Let's stop this whole business of telling people, you see in Inika, if you find me in so and so years, please keep quiet. We know how to observe things on our own. Yes, let us, if people will gossip, give them something to talk about. Don't go around and telling us you are wasting time. Channel your energy towards action. Show them your dreams. So, my recommendations for these things. How are we going to achieve our dreams? How are we going to get to where we are supposed to and leverage ourselves? Number one, change your thoughts. Change your thoughts. We become what we think about. Someone said, Earl Nightingale said that the moment you discover this, you think you are the first one to discover it. And when I was listening to him saying that, I thought I was the first person to discover it. We become what we think about. 86% on an American prison, 86% of the guys that were pedophiles, child molesters, rapists, abusers sexually, 86% of them were addicted to pornography. And that is a very good reason why they became that. Because they kept looking at things. and they took over their minds. Someone said men don't decide their future. It's their habits that decide their future. So the man has got to decide proper habits so that when habit kicks in, it decides the future they desire. It's your habits that decide who you become. If you have a habit of prayer every day, it can shape your future. If you have a habit of investing regularly, it can shape your future. If you have a habit of paying attention and taking notes, it can shape your future. You become what you think about. What is it that consumes you? What is it that you're obsessed with? We know dominating imicabango yakho. And I'll give you something here. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. In other words, God says, my rank of you is not necessarily what you think of yourself. If I want to know what you are, and look at what you are thinking. Because what you are thinking is who you are. Let's look at a situation where you're trying to photocopy something. Take a piece of paper, and you want to photocopy this. Auntie, you take that paper, put it in the photocopier, close, auntie. And then, when the paper comes out, lapha kule wu elithe, phakathi kwamabala akho la abhaliwe program, kule wu elithe. Now, if you take this piece of paper, take a rubber, urabhi wu leliyana ulikhiphe, remove it. Then you press again, what happens to the next paper? Liyaphuma wu likhona lithe, auntie. Ungadecide ukuthi no, I must change the type of paper. Instead of type, I'll use rotor trim. Let's put rotor trim. Press again. Kuyapuma kule cockroach stuck up in your paper. The only way you can get rid of the cockroach is go to the place where copying is being done. Because that thing is in the central point of copying. So if you open up the glass, remove the cockroach and put what you desire, and then you close it up and you press, you will find what you want. So we are trying to change our lives by our actions instead of changing our lives by our thoughts. Before you become a successful businessman, you become here. Before you become an entrepreneur, you become one here. Someone says, how do you know business people? By how they think and what they speak as a consequence of their thoughts. Because they speak differently. An average man speaks 1,000 words on a regular basis in a year. Just 1,000 words. An average successful person processes 10,000 variety of words. In other words, successful people have got a by 10 advantage over you. Because they read books, because they observe. You don't even have to go to a university to do that. You must be eager to learn. Eager to learn and understand things. We become what we think about. What takes us to the past is our memories, but what takes us to the future is our dreams. If you always are going to the past, you spend time with your memories. But there's a problem with the past. It cannot be changed. If you failed in the past, you failed. If in the past you did something wrong, you will always do it wrong. If you visit your past, there's nothing there to see. You won't go to your past and find out you passed grade 3, which you flunked. You can't. You cannot. And there are some certain things that we can achieve because it's katsesdlulilanti. Now, if you were 5 years of age and you started doing certain things about sure, and they'll clap hands for you, but if you do them at 25, no one will clap hands for you because you are past that age. You need to grab opportunity while it lasts, while it's there. And you need to say, you know what, I'll stop visiting my past, I'm going to start visiting my dreams, my future, where I want to go to. I'll spend time there, change my mind, change my thinking, change my circumstances. No matter how many times you visit the past, there's nothing you will see that's new. Nothing. If you failed in the past, you have failure there. So I spent time in a place where you failed. Let me say something important. If you succeeded in the past, it won't get better. No, if you want better success, start doing it now. One of the biggest challenges of progress is past success because we camp at it. We feel good about it. You know, people say, here is so and so. When I was at school, I did a poem at assembly. Our headmaster never laughed. He just didn't laugh. I don't know why, but he didn't. He never ever liked anything. He never commented on anything. He was the headmaster. He never did anything. So I went up there with this poem that I kept for almost a year. One day I got the guts, I said, I'm going to do it. So I'm up at this. Then I did my poem. He said, I want that poem written in all the notice boards in this school. I'll come back and do it again. And he laughed for the first time. And you see, when I did it, other people will meet me in Ilomas and they'll say, is that the guy who wrote the poem? That's the guy who wrote the poem. That's the guy. And I camped. But one day, someone said, have you written something else? I said, no. And he said, you are killing us. Because there's more that you can do. And after that, I remember doing some other one, and someone said, that one was not good. This one is better. I said, Abantulaba. But they were telling the truth. If you camp on your best stuff, you never see anything new. The achiever's mindset says, I choose to live by choice and not by chance. Are you alive because you woke up alive, or are you alive because you choose to be alive? There's a difference. Do you choose your activities on a daily basis, or they just find you? Laba abantu ngathi ubuya lapha sambe ngaphi uyahamba vele la plan ngala program yakhe vele iyakho la yavuma. I choose to be motivated and not manipulated. I choose to be useful and not used. Are you used or you are useful? In your job, you can be used to achieve some certain goals. When we are firing people in a company, we start from the people that contribute the least. When they are firing people, they start from people that contribute. Umuntu okuthi ngavuke ngiyekho into zihamba. Angikwazi mina ngisinto ngisho. Ungavuka ngiyekho kungathi kungaba affected but ungaqhubeka ukuhamba. So, before you can start complaining about being fired, how much value were you offering? First leadership conference I attended at church, I think somebody was teaching there. He said, before you can ask what this church can do for you, my question is, what are you going to do for this church? As ngasuka ngidabukile ukuthi thina sifuna ukuhamba singama leaders, what are we going to do for the church? But that was the truth. All of us want something. When they get to the job, they want to find out, how much money am I going to have? Not how much value can I bring? I choose to be useful and not to be used. I choose to make changes and not excuses. If you don't like something in life, it's simple. You don't like something, change it. Full stop. No big secret. You don't like something, change it. If you grow up in poverty, it might have been your parents' fault. If you are in poverty, it might have been Robert Mugabe and his crew's fault, so blame them if you want. But if you live and die in poverty, it's your fault. We blame everyone for everything. I was in a shop the other time, and my computer went up in flames. Literally, the power pack went up in flames. So I wanted a power pack, the keyboard was not working, and the battery wasn't working, so that's $60. So I had my money, it's all that I had. So $60, I walked in, and I wanted it, and this woman was busy saying, banana, banana, I'm the only person who has seen this. What I and 20 minutes I walked out. And then when I was sitting at home and analyzing, I discovered that business lost my $60. Needless to say, the gentleman next to me left, and the lady behind me left. They lost almost $100. Was it because Zimbabwe was bad? Was it because there was a poor economic situation? Was it because the Minister of Finance was not doing his job? Was it because Robert Mugabe was running the country down? No! They were running themselves down. And I like to correct those things that I can fix. I don't like blaming other people. You already see that they are doing the job bad. Why are you making the matters worse? Just deal with what you can. I choose to make changes and not excuses. I choose to excel and not just compete. Don't compete, excel. Lead them. And when you have led them, beat them at their own game. When you have beaten them, ask God for more grace such that He makes you very ahead of them so that they may know even children of God prosper. You have to do it. You have to prove the point. If Jesus has one sample on earth, and it's you, could it be the best sample that we can use? If success-based sample is you, or let me say, if you're your own parent, if what you are doing and what you are, if your parent had raised you, behaving the way you are behaving, would you have gone to school? Would you have achieved what you have achieved? Some of us might have failed because we are performing less than our parents. I choose self-esteem and not self-pity. I choose to do things that you won't do today so that tomorrow I'll do the things that you can't do. If you don't want to, the issue of staying up all night, I also have a comment. There are situations that require us to stay up all night. And usually when you're building your business from scratch, you might find yourself with sleepless nights. But I've discovered something. If you manage your time well, there's no need for you to not lose your sleep. I'm honest. You manage your time well, you won't have to lose your sleep. And I hardly study at night. Wake up at 2 for what? I go to sleep. If I manage my time well and get rid of other people during the day, I have enough time. Honestly, on an honest basis, be serious about what you want to achieve. Mina kulezikhathi zokuthi ungafika nyathi sorry ngikhona nti but angikho ukuthi ngikhulume lawe kwakhathesi ngiyaxolisa but angeke ngikuvulele gate because I'm busy doing something and I've got exams and I've got this and that and I've got a deadline and I've got a contract. If you really love me and you want me to succeed, you will go home because you really want me to go somewhere. If a person cannot give you space for development, we wonder whether they will not strangle you when you are successful to take your success. If you take yourself seriously, others will take yourself seriously. Lina imiyete ngwazi ukuthi kuthiwa awuzibani kumele ufike ngesikhathi. Awuzibani vele ngafuna into abantu baziqoqa ngawuthi uzibani ukhona. So you teach people how to treat you. If people are not taking you seriously, check what you are teaching them. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. That's why I said the gossiper knows everything about everyone, nothing about themselves. They know everything about who's making the money, about in church who is dating so and so, and who he did, how many demons cast out of them, who did whatever. And so they all the gossip and the stories, they are doing nothing with their lives. Small minds discuss people. Don't discuss people in your life. Discuss events, discuss ideas. In any event, there are four types of people. First ones, the ones that make things happen. Make sure you're part of those people. 2, those that participate when things happen. Number 3, there are those that are always wondering what is happening. You see, they're always wondering what is happening here. And number 4, in the West group, there are those that wonder what just happened. You see, they were never part of the moment. When the moment came, they missed it. Number 2, make the commitment. Anyone can dream, anyone can complain, but very few people can commit. Make a commitment. Dreaming is cheap. I say dreaming, just take a chair, sit there, make sure there's no one calling you, turn your phone off. Time, you can dream. But there's a commitment that comes after the dream. Just like this session, I've learned it over some years, that the most important part of a motivational or inspirational career development, whatever session, is not the actual event. It's what happens immediately when we leave the event. Because when we leave this place and you do not go, I'm forever living so many transfers, I need number, make okay, advertiser. I'm just joking. If you don't go to Forever Living Products and ask, you're not going to make some money. I'm not joking, I'm serious. He was telling me you were selling health products and what, and I was making money, telling me so and so is making money, and so is making money. You don't make money by watching money being made, you make money by participating when it's being made. Did you know that if all of you take this seriously and you have more money, we can do things about our problems that we have in this church? I mean, context, in this church. We can do things about those young people that have no fathers or mothers, no one to take them to school. And until you leverage them on some point or another. Show them some act of kindness. And they'll follow you and they say, you've been so kind to me. What makes you kind? Tell them it's Jesus. But if you don't have the money, forget it. You need to generate income. Commit to yourself first. Right. There are people who can commit to anyone. Auntie, they can commit to anyone. You want me at 2 p.m., I will be there. You want me at 11, you can count on me. You want me to do this for you, I will do it. Spring cleaning, all over. Sometimes yakhweza amazinga ngithi omama bayakwazi yakhweza izinga landlana. But ngitsho ukuthi umuntu wangikhona kungaba lo munye umuntu obuya phandle. They lift the level up because they are saying the value of this person is so great that I've got to lift up my standards. What's your value that you live in that standard? That's low. Before ungaqasa ukushayina kube clean in your room because umalume wegoli uyabuya, shayina kube clean because a dreamer lives there, someone with passion and someone with dreams. Take yourself seriously. Just take yourself, for once, take yourself seriously. Commit to yourself. There are guys who can buy an Armani suit because the girl said they are going for a date. He can commit to her. He can pay half of his salary even before paying the tithe. He can pay half of the salary to the girl. He can do anything for the girl. He has never done anything for himself. And some people, the best idea they have in their lives, megabytes, terabytes, it was to propose to a girl. That's the best plan they've ever had. But that doesn't put food on the stove. That doesn't make anything work. If you really loved her, you will work on yourself and get the money together. And pull yourself together, for crying out loud. Don't do it for somebody. Start working on it. Commit to yourself. Why don't you make an arrangement with your dreams and say, I commit to myself that if I said I'll go back to school, I am going back to school. Oldest student we ever taught was 54. Said, I want to be a minister. God's word, they said they want O levels. And there was a scholarship at that church, and they were very wise. They said, we want 5 O levels. If you don't get them, you're not getting the scholarship to be a preacher. She says, hey, what, preacher in London and all that stuff. But 5 levels were required. So at 54, she went and started learning. I had the privilege to work with that woman. And she finally got all of them. The last time I checked, she was in South Africa doing her theological degree and said, I want to touch the world for the gospel. But at 54, went back to school. How old are you? I'll talk about education just shortly. Commit to yourself first. Before you can tell me what can you set your own appointments and meet them? Set your own appointments and meet them. If you said you get a driver's license this year, set the appointments, meet it. If you said you get your O-level together, stop hiding, go and put it together. For crying out loud, do something for yourself. Commit to yourself first. There's a price to be paid for every level of life. You don't just wake up at a level of life. You pay a price. We see other people driving nice cars, having nice houses and so forth, and we think, oh, the Lord has blessed them. Yes, but you remember that God said, I'll bless the works of your hands. If you are not working, you are not a candidate for that, according to that scripture. If you are crying out for blessing, where are the works to be blessed? Because he gave you a brain, and needless to say, there are some people who have on their heads put hair that has cost far much more than the ideas they put inside the head where they plant the wigs on. I know that's offensive, and I want to step on you intentionally. Have you put stuff in your head that causes you to have an advantage? Poverty, I hate poverty with a passion. If you think poverty is good, I hate poverty with a passion. I've seen poverty do crazy things to people's lives. Needless to say, one time we had 2 girls that will knock off from school at 4. And we'll go to town and prostitute because they didn't have a living. Young girls. The other time, someone was telling me because we've got adults and young people and we've got pastors and so forth, other people that come and learn. So we give them responsibility and some of them are passionate towards other people. Was talking to one of the girls that was there last year, and there was a young man who was sleeping with her. He would curse her. He would say things to her. He would devalue her. And at any point in time he would come and get her and he would go over with her to a place because she was poor. I hate poverty with a passion. So take yourself seriously. Let's make the money to change things. Not just money if there's responsibility, but it's easier when we've got the money. There is a price to be paid for every level of life. The reason why men fail is because of broken focus. What's your focus? What are you chasing? We're not busy these days. There should be always something conspicuous about you. I'm worried when people don't look like there's something that they are putting together. And at church, where do you come from? You are breathing, you are living, but you are eating. Whose food are you eating? If you wake up, city council wants some money because you are going to wash yourself. That's water. If you go to the refrigerator before you open it, someone has got to pay for the food in there. We can't just live to consume. We've got to contribute. And parents love it when their children contribute. Are you a consumer or a contributor? Do you wake up in the morning? Who paid for this food? I'm joking. I'm serious. Who is paying for the food? If they are paying for it, how are they doing it? Why can I help out? Am I going to just consume and not contribute? No ways. Focus on something in your life. My aim is accurate because I've trained it. My mind is sharp because I've sharpened it. My body is strong because I've pushed it. I have earned my skill with sweat and blood. I'm not an athlete. I'm a weapon. Someone said. This amazwi amadoda abo mama qho. It's correct. You amazwi azwakalayo. When you can look at your own children, parents, and your own children can be the ones to say, singakhuluma unye umama hayi. Umama ngwama standards. Umama is an achiever. What do you want to become when you grow up? Uzosithi njengosazi bani welayini la ukhona unguparent hayibo. I want to be like my dad because my father has done his best. You don't have to have $1 million. You have to do your best. Abana bethu ngikhali nabangama youth abakhulu, do they grow up wishing to be like you? When they talk about their friends, who are they bragging about? About their brother, about their sister, or they are bragging about the other girl that you hate next door, or the other boy that you hate down the street? Possibly they are not bragging about you because there's very little to brag about. Don't get angry, do something that can be there for them to brag about. Number 3, get education. I want to set the record straight, Lapa. And education is not sitting in a class. I mean, I'm so disgruntled with the current education system. I don't think it works, personally. I don't think it works. It's frustrating. I mean, I don't like school, I like information. But school, as I have been taught, I don't like it. The whole activity is strenuous. It suppresses thinking at times. It's not exploring. It's just feeding what we know. And you can't sit here and say Vanadokora and so forth, they did a bad job. No. Education is your responsibility. What is education? According to me, education is being changed by the information you need to access the next level of the development of your potential. Education doesn't stop. Wenzani sengaqeda i-answer yona le ngicela ukuthi yala ngivalile waqedani? Waqeda ukuvuka ekuseni ufaka i-lunch tin yesikolo kumbe ubusuzondela abantu Cynthia wasengine workshop. Thoba ubusuzondela abantu kungathi uyavula ifridge phela nxa ungaqeda i-O level mba form 4 mbe wawusebenza ungathi uyavula ifridge uthi uyabamba uzothiwa hayi ngokwamna wakho yesikolo, hayi ngokwamalumo emsebenzini. Phela wena awufakelwa ngoba i-energy yankhona uzayisebenzisana. Who needs energy for sleeping? So into zonke ziyabe zilamabizo efridge and rightfully so. Or kuthiwa ivila kanjani? Education is being changed by the information you need. And here, I started off by giving you websites, ngabomo. And here you need some information. Information is everything. Information is everything. I'll tell you, the world is run on information. And it's about to get worse as we go on. Kulabantu abale tendency yokuthi okwamafoni mina vela ngikuzwisisi ngokwabozibani ngicela nqawulapha ukhuluma into ezinjalo uziyekele namuhla. It's not an intelligent statement. You have to learn. The Bible says you must learn. So if there is an application that can make work better, learn how to use it. If there's an application for planning your calendar or whatever, learn how it's done. We have on our hands what are called smartphones, and they're not called smart for no reason. They are so smart. If we just use them for WhatsApp and Facebook and what, no wonder why we're losing money and we're not gaining anything. Learn. Make it a lifelong habit to learn. So when you need information, get it. Let me tell you something about education system. That day, because we are put in a very terrible situation and then we are learning and it's cold and all that. Do you know where the the calendar came from? Learning calendar. It's because in those days, the Victorian system, December. April. So, so what we will do is that we will open during the times when there's no cropping and so forth. And then when it's time to crop, we shut down schools, we go and do other work. Are we farmers? You see? Number 2, did you know that when learning was invented, people sit on rows and whatever. The Victorian system says, the reason why learning was made, what we need to create a machine that can work in any part of the world and give us the same results. So because we don't have such a machine, so let's take humans. But these humans must be standardized. They must learn how to add and subtract. They must have good handwriting. Good handwriting. Why good handwriting? So that anyone in any part of the world can read their handwriting. And they must be able to add and subtract, have good handwriting and communication skills. And then the third thing that they imposed was that they have to wear the same thing because we want them to look the same. We want to take them from Australia and put them in the Habsburg Empire and they perform. We want to take them from New Zealand and put them in Africa and they do the same thing. They don't have to think for themselves. They just have to do what they are told and what they've been trained to do. So we should be able to take someone from the UK to the States and they do the same thing because this is our machine. You see? So one of the things to prove if this machine works is examinations. Because according to scientific research, they discovered the reptilian section of our brain, which is responsible for thought and other things. When you are under threat, if it's a lion that comes against you, or if there is a snake lapha, it's because when the snake came, it shut down the reptilian section of the brain, which is responsible for thinking rationally. So exams do the same. So why then were they imposed? So that we know. That's the purpose of an exam. So you can do that. They'll give you a certificate to say this one can open the brain when it shuts itself down. So you can use them. But that's not enough. Things have changed. Things have changed. I was on a bus to Joburg one time, just recently in February. And this guy just walks in. 2 people looking for charging ports, and everyone wants a charging port for what I don't know. They're always looking for a charging spot. Always looking for a charging port. So Greyhound has got these things that they've fitted in these charging ports. And so 2 people put their charging ports. The other guy is watching a movie. The other one is on the phone. He says, sound system. Yes, Nilai. when what 200, it's a political meeting 9 to 12, let me call one of my boys because I'm going to South Africa. He calls the guy who actually has the sound system. And he says, do you have those microphones without, I could tell he knows nothing about sound. And then he negotiates, says, you see, how much do you charge? He says 150, says, I'll charge 300. The 150 is mine. Then he puts the phone down and negotiates for 200. He makes $50 on a bus. And some people work for 30 days for it. You don't just have to work hard, you have to work smart. Number 4, work. A dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. I want to pass that one. I've talked about work a lot. Number 5, be brave. Courage, above all things, is the first quality of a warrior. Courage, be brave. You need to stand up and fight. How many times does God say fear not? 360 something times in the Bible. Fear not, fear not, fear not. Let me be clear on that. That's one thing that we should know. And but sithi kumele khathesi ungakafiki sihle sikwenza ubekwazi ama-resources olawo sasithatha ungayibona into leyana. What kicks in when fear kicks in, you drive it out because we have told you, fear not, for I am with you. The first quality of a warrior is courage. It's being brave. Are you brave enough to walk out there? Are you brave enough to do stuff? Are you brave enough to fight? Are you brave enough to fight for what you love and what you desire? Are you brave enough to go out there and get it? Invest in your dream. Tony Gaskins says, if you do not build your dream, someone will hire you to build their dream. It's true. Don't build your dream, someone will hire you. You build their dream. Now, don't mistake me, I'm not saying quit your job. Like, the purpose of a job is not money, it's work. Auntie, someone was asking me the other time, I said, so lapha kule paper le university, ngiphikeni lokho uba kuthe kule mali eningi, mina ngathi lokho nakungcono. Ngabe senisithi izwana. Iwuphi umsebenzi phakathi kwale ukuthi nxa bengakubhadalanga for the next 6 months you'll wake up and go to work. Wathi kakula ngathi vula ipage. Asidinga omunye wazi walenda somewhere. I love doing this. What you want to spend your life doing something you don't love? Choose your hobbies and let people pay you for them. You'll be playing around at work and someone is paying you for it because it's your hobby. You chose what you love. Sometimes you have to do things that you do not love to get to the things that you love. When she was doing the presentation here, she said, I'm using Forever Living products to create my IT company. I love that a lot. Some of us want to wake up in the IT company. It doesn't work that way. That's why I said, if you are here, you are saying, yeah, angenzi lutho. Yeah, what? Awula mali yokuthenga hambe thenga izwitsi. Now I think it's one of the boys at church, he wants to repeat O level. So I told him, I want to see at school. He said, I can't go to school. I told him, whatever you have to do, go and do. So he went about to car wash business. I have a car wash business. I'll wash your car. How much does it cost? $5. $5? That's too much. He says, but or better, you are going to pay me twice as much. And regardless to say, we've been getting twice as much. Because the way I asked him, I said, you must do it in such a way that no one can do it the way you do it. If you give people things, if you do things the way in which they're excellent, people have no option but to come back. And if you're running a business, this was not my goal, let me give you some hints. When someone buys, can you say thank you? It doesn't cost much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. You're a good customer. Don't just say it because you're programmed. Learn to mean it from your heart. Whenever they give you $1, see it getting into your bank account, paying your expenses. They are not there to support you. They chose to support you. Thank them and say, thank you very much. Thank you so much for doing this. There's a guy in Harare who cuts here for $20 a cut. $20 a cut. Now, how does he do it? This guy, simply what we are selling, if you really go deep into it, you discover that we really don't sell product, we sell service. That Mercedes-Benz, we are not really selling moving from point A to point B. That was for 1970s. Now we are selling moving from point A to point B. We are selling comfort. We are selling status. Mercedes-Benz. So what are you selling? So convert things away from your product because anyone can compete on a product. But bring it towards your personality because no one can be you. When they buy from you, say thank you. Smile at them and tell them that next time you come, I'm going to do it far much better. When they buy so much from you, give them some incentive. Give them a bonus. Buy them a card on their birthday and say, we want to thank you, our client, you have been supporting us. If you're running a tuck shop, no, clients are on a daily basis. It's taboo for someone to buy 3 times from a business and you still don't know who they are. If you do those things and they fail, find me and I will pay some money. They never fail because we always go back to places where we're treated nicely. We run away from pain, we go towards pleasure. So we must learn these things, and these are characteristics of children of God. That's the best part. It comes naturally because we care, because Jesus cares. So don't just work for people. Do the best that you can. Another ethic that I want to impart to you is never do as much as they are paying you. Always do for much more. No, big jobs are given to people who outgrow small jobs. When you outgrow a small one, that's why it's called promotion. Promotion from the job that you are now overperforming in. The reason why you may not be being promoted, apart from other things, but maybe you are not performing above your job. Start performing above your job. We have to take you higher. When people buy from me, can you say thank you? When you want something from them, can you say please? Don't just do these things because you want their money. Put it into your character. When you talk to people, can you say, can I please have a biscuit? Don't say, biscuit. Can I please have something? And when they give you something, learn to say, thank you. You don't know what that can do. You don't know what that can do. I'm out of time. But I'm tempted to say this. Particularly because it's entrepreneurial. Didn't prepare for it, but because we're talking also about entrepreneurship. There are 3 things to a product. Number 1, it must be timely. It must be on time. If you have speed, people will buy from you. But people forget how fast you did something. They remember how well you did it. So speed is not everything. Number 1, it must be timely. Number 2, it must be defect-free. In other words, there must be no problems. You are selling popcorn, stop burning it. Stop doing bent offerings on popcorn. If you are selling popcorn, sell it right, clean. Number 1, it must be defect-free. It must be defect-free. If you buy a chickies with 30 and one of them don't pass them on to the customer and say, I'm paying my chickies. It's your loss. You must lose because you want their money. Unless I want it for the next week and for the next month and for the next year. That's how big people make money. Defect-free. On time. Something. Deliver it on time. But there's a third thing to a product which is interesting. The person who gives you the product on time, defect-free, must be nice. When a person walks into a building and it's service, the first time you can say, this guy was saying, walked into a bank, he was going to give a talk to them the next day, and then a bank all tellers 21, so which means that they were timely. A bank was so nice, columns, you can smell the money, it was so well done. So in other words, it was defect-free, it was timely. But the lady was at the till says, next! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, yes. So problem. Yes, yes, yes. I want some change. Next! But that man had walked in for the first time, he didn't take note of her. But you know what you should do in your businesses? Someone walks in the first time and says, that's a nice dress that you're wearing. Compliment them. Don't just do it out of fake, because when they find out it's fake, you'll be in trouble. Mean it with your heart. The next they come, what's your name? Mr. So and so. Next time, Mr. Ngube, can you come please? They know me by name. So what? When a customer, Mr. Maphosa, can you come please? I feel better. And the next time, they said, that man said, if I was getting change from the bank, and they said, Mr. Schultz, here is your change, and because I know you're collecting coins, I'll give you some of it in coins. He even knows what the client is doing. Do you know that much about your clients? The guy who cuts hair for $20, because I will tell about these diseases that can happen to you, scares you, then you buy the towel. Number 2, he says, if I do it badly, I'll always do it. I'll redo it. 2 more cuts. If it's bad, 2 more cuts for free. No one dares to use that 2 more cuts. Even if it was bad, no one dares to use it. Then he says, he calls the person and says, Sule 1 month ungazakukat inwele zakho. Is it right lapho khona? Uthi hayi ngisemsebenzini ngaphi he will drive to where you are. He will bring this thing. He got it. I don't know he got it from. Afike efaka into leyana engathi lo yayenza ukungimoya kule moisture. Fika lapha kugela and it's $20 per cut. And on every one of his clients, when their children got married, because those are managers and whatever that cut from him, he was always there with a wedding present. Lifelong relationship. And it means lifelong money. Let's finish up. Number 7, you've got to fight. You have got to fight. And here, I intentionally put this because you will understand what it is, Ephesians chapter 6. You have got to fight. Just because you've got good ideas doesn't make the world stand back for you. You have got to fight. There are moments I cried tears in my life because things were not fair. They were not fair. It wasn't right. And other people took advantage of me, and I broke my back just to get other people through. And then they threw me into a dustbin. It wasn't fair. I didn't like it at all. But you have got to fight. Shield of faith. As a business person, you must have faith. Developing a concept, you must have faith. You want to start selling your sweet, you must have faith that they will buy the sweets. And mina ngikhuluma ngezithi ngabomo vele, that's the starting point. Andiwena ukuthi awenzi lutho. Lintshela ukuthi kulo brother lapho ungathi uya iboys kumbe ngusister lapha kubuya umsisi omncane kumbe ngomama labo baba kumbe mfundisi ngiyakwazi umfundisi uzalitshela ukuthi ngabuya uzocela $3 yokuyathenga ama-fizz pop. Uthi mfuna uqalisa ibhizinisi amboni ngakuncisha. Mfundisi mfuna uthenga ama-fizz pop, mfuna ukuwathengisa. And guess what? The first 10 packets are easy to sell because uyathengisela bonke abantu abakhona. And abantu abasebaduze bathanda ukukwetha ungabakweredisi. Wonke umuntu mfuna ikheshi yami khona. Bengaqeda ukuzithenga, you'll have enough money to buy something that's not a fizz pop. Chairperson of our men's fellowship was testifying. Esithi uNdlovu esithi yena he's got some space at the back of his garden. So aqasa ukuhlayela umbhida. Wahlayela umbhida lwana wathi lina lizakha ngapha, lingake likhe ngapha lizangibona. So thina ngangapha. So umbhida lwana ukuthi ngangithengisa amanye 20 cents in a day, sometimes $2 in a day, sometimes $5. Umquba sasuthola mahare ekhaya kulesibaya siyageba, sawufaka umbhida laphana, and he was able to buy a couple of goats. And now I think it's about 8 goats. Umbhida ohlangelwayo, and when he gets to 10 goats, uyahambe ethenga ithwani inkomo leyana enjani elethole on the way. Angithi uyahambe ethenga esizazala yona leyana. Iyahambe ithenga. And if you multiply that, after 4 years, it's going to have this by the 17 to 18 kg if my math is serving me right. Nothing happens overnight. It's a process. That's the essence of life. Processes. Putting $1 away in a day. Kalani kubona here by show of hands Semvala. How many Semvala ngwenza inoti program? See how many people abakhona lapha abale $60 saved. I'm not talking about $60 in your account that you're going to withdraw and buy something with it. But $60 or more, ongaza kuyithinte ongasoze uyithinte, that is saved for future purposes. By raising your hand. $60 or more. Right, we've got 4 people. 2018 minus 5 is what? 2012. Huh? If in 2012 you started saving $1 a month, $1 a month, at the end of the year you would have $12. At the end of 5 years, 12 times 5, you are going to have $60. Simple. It's $1 a month. When I told other people that your savings can grow in that way, $60 per month, but $1 per month, $60. But in the past 5 years I've known you don't even have $60. It's a state you are, that's where you are. Don't get angry. Money doesn't feel pain for you. There's no emotions. But how many of you know that as long as you keep not saving money and using the wisdom that you're even given in the Bible, how many of you know today that if your parent had an unfortunate event like a stroke or they broke their leg or they had an accident, you can't sustain them in hospital, you don't have enough money to do that? How many people are there? Don't raise your hand. So there is danger that can happen that you're not prepared for. And we know the Bible says that a man must prepare himself. So this is not just about just going to work and getting money. This is a disciplined lifestyle. Now I've walked into hospitals. I hate poverty, passion. And I've seen people fail to access drugs, fail to access medical attention. Kule indawo esake sahamba khona siku-cell group, I was young by then, as a school, and then kwakulogogo kuthiwa siyamkhulekela, so the chairperson and I and somebody else, so I used to drag along with them. Then sathi sifika ngangale, and then asathi siyazikhulekile, but eqinisweni that day kwakufunakala $6 yempuphu. Eqinisweni none of us had money. Ugogo wayelambile on top of her problems, but onye kwakuyile ndlala ekhona endlini. Satshela ukuthi akula mpuphu, sasisearcha akula muntu oyele mali. That day kwakufunakala above anything was money. For millimil we didn't have it. Give and it shall be given to you. What will you give if you have nothing? It's not that promises do not work. We are not in a position for them to work for us. So I want to challenge every person in this place. Have faith. But kuthiwa faith without what? Works is dead. Usukala, if you don't have a business, you need to start thinking. Can everyone be a business person? Of course they can be. Of course. And how many businesses should you run? As many as you can afford to run. Make sure your first one is the only one so that you learn from it. And as you grow and have more money, put money in other places. And I love the whole idea that when you succeed, pull other people with you. There's a small girl who's a teenager, and buy a pack of chips and say, I challenge you to finish this pack. I challenge you. If she finishes off and say, I challenge you to finish 10. She finishes 10, you are taking her to a level where she doesn't even believe she can exist. Say, I challenge you to finish 20. Before long, she has learned the disciplines of entrepreneurship. When I say this point again and again, I said poverty can be driven out. I don't care where you come from, it can be. And people questioned. I asked Upindile to come over, one of the smokers in our club. And we said, we'll buy fleece blankets. You know, fleece blankets, we're selling them. We'll buy fleece blankets. And Pindile, you don't have to pay anything. When you just come and get them and sell them, your profit we do not give you. I will keep it. Make sure you keep the money. If you give them the money, make sure they don't take it because they are trained to eat it. So keep it for them. So Pindile will go and sell blankets. And she sold $123 of blankets in a month. A teenager. $123 of blankets. Lomto said asked to school fees. 120, she didn't pay anything. She just took the blankets from me at cost, and I would charge her for some profit as well. Because I said the world doesn't give you anything for free. I won't give you anything for free. And we took that money, like passport office. I said, you are getting a passport today. And she wants to be a scientist. She's been to South Africa before, and she knows what she wants to do. But for her to get that passport, to get that bus ticket and everything, she did it herself. And there's nothing as powerful as knowing I can do it myself. So, before we can start talking about, I do not have this, can you please change your mental attitude? What financial goals can I put? I can give you simple ones. Number one, my first one when I was a teen, I said, I don't want to ask for money from anyone anymore. So I'm going to raise the money yogurt. Like I just say, it's my financial goal. Next thing I said, that should stop. No more. We must make enough money to have enough, because if we do not have now, how can we give to others? And that one stopped. But it's not big financial goals. They are sizable for where I am. Let me put financial goals. What are the things that they gave us papers? Things that you need to stop doing. If you're borrowing money from people, how much are you borrowing? Stop doing it and start raising it. If you are constantly eating money, but and you think you're not making progress, but zonke izimali zakho hamba uzitshiya endaweni ezitshiyeneyo, hamba uyichithize imoto. And not all of us need to have cars, by the way, depending on where we are with our business. If you can run your business by putting things emchoveni, stop trying to get glamour from people. What people say doesn't matter. Put izinto emchoveni nxa kuyangisa uzahamba lo muntu esikani eceleni kwakhe nepusha. Yikho lokho, that's the building position. And once you are well off enough, then you can start affording other things. If you look after the business, it will look after you. But if you abuse the business, the same will apply. It will abuse you. Number 8, 5. This is the last part. Get yourself a helmet of salvation. If you are here in this room and you are not saved, you are on terrible ground. I say this everywhere I go. I do not care whether it's a company or whatever, whether they thought I would talk about church or whatever. I do not care. Because salvation of souls is important. If you are not saved, you can't claim all the promises I've been talking about. Psalm 91, your faithful promises are a shield about me. You don't have a shield because you don't have promises. Get your helmet on. This means also protect your head. Don't sit down and watch non-discriminatory television. Don't sit down and just watch whatever on the screen. If you want to control people's mind, you control what they see and what they think. Simple. Ever wonder why generations, scandal and so forth, they play at the same time and the ideas are almost the same? Because the source is the same. The source is the same. There are two ways for governments to make money. Number one, through war. But war is a problem because you lose your own relatives. Another one they discovered is social problems. That's why in South Africa, then they've got this thing they call, you have a child at school, they give you 1,600 rand. Guess what's happening? They are booming children at school and getting the money. So, mzwana grant ababuye school for 2 days. But all sorts of things. Because there is free money. And they're being taught the wrong thing. And one time one said, is it Durban, just close to Durban, this place, where the Indians reside. Town because it's Hindu. And whether you like it or not, they have closed the town. What's the church? Church. Simple, because they own the money. Whoever controls the money controls the services. And we moved from that place towards Durban. And I saw the place like Amazulu, Amazulu. And tears came to my eyes. Free housing, other DP houses and so forth. And their children, booming with children, they have so many bazulu there, and the government is giving them social grants, and they are striking for other things. The boers are not striking, they are making money. When they are at school, their children are taught, find a good company to work for. The boers are taught, find a good company to buy and employ as many blacks as you can. Because they refuse to think for themselves. And when you get to Durban, the beachfront, you don't find the Zulu people there. They own the land, but because ideas dictate who owns the place and the money, they are not there. They are in cramped places. And Katesi, I saw a place in towards Mpumalanga next to Santon. And I saw the Alexandra, I didn't know, but Mkuki Lama gates, when I it's a permanent situation. And Baba City, no, you don't understand. It's because Ama gates we make money out of them. Toilets is a government official, it makes money out of them. So you're voting people into power, again, go and vote. You're voting people into power that are making a living out of you. I challenge you. I challenge you. I challenge you. If you're a teenager in this place, you are not too young to make a difference. I challenge you. Go home and think of an idea. If your parents are sick and they are dying with disease and stuff like that, don't say I'm too young. I challenge you. If you've got to go, Koseka is struggling and stuff like that, I challenge you. In your family, you have no impact. I challenge you. Let's make the money. Number 8, what do you think number 8 is? Number 8 is fight. You can't stop fighting. Get a sword. Get a sword. Speak what you want to see in your life. I mean, I used to do poultry a lot. Hence the king chicken thing came up. Started marketing chicken on WhatsApp, and we'll sell all of the 100 disperse on WhatsApp on one weekend. Because it's not working hard anymore, you have to be working smart. But then, I discovered something. Spiritual principles. So many people say, serious. So story. None of my, it sounds funny, but I was shocked to discover unbelievers know these things and they talk about them. In the Cayman Islands, when they are cutting trees, Cayman Islands, rainforest area, when they are cutting trees, if it's too big for you to cut it down, it's simple. You go around the tree and you start cursing it. They speak evil of the tree so badly, after 3 or 4 days, the tree starts to wither and die. Then you cut it down. Speak God's word. That's a sword of the Spirit, the word of God. I'm a child of God. I've got a creative mind. Ideas will flow through this mind. Believe it. Don't just speak it, believe it. Number 10, long-range weapons. This is where I encourage you to go to school. This is where I encourage you to go and get a degree if you want to, even if you don't want to. If it will give you an advantage, go and get it. You don't need a degree to start a business, but you might need a degree to grow it. You don't need a certificate for you to start doing something, but you might need a certificate for you to protect it. Making money is not very difficult. You just exchange things, but keeping it is something else. Keeping it, if you thought it was difficult, growing it is a totally different story, and investing it. 3 levels of money. Where you earn it, and where you keep it, and where you grow it. So you need long-range weapons. This is information. Start to read journals, start to read things. Qala ukubala ukuthi kuthwani ngemali, imali igcinwa njani, imali protectwa njani, investwa njani. Ngiserious lapha, ngiserious. Uvuke ebusuku ubale mbijana. Anti akula umuntu okuthwala ugodo ethi lama assignment. Anti but uzinike wena ama assignment. Uma umuntu ekhuluma lapha wathi and when I'm reading, there's reading in a vocabulary because he's running a business. When wabalani, how many things have you read? There's a book that I'm reading, it's called The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. Letters from a senior demon to a junior one. Now, don't get me wrong, it's just a title, creative title. So this other big one says, Uncle Screwtape writes to his junior, the other junior demon, Wormwood. He says, Wormwood, abantu balula to deal with. Just keep them believing that they are not what God says they are. Simple. And when you want to deal with people, they're always thinking or putting things into their minds. Keep them believing. But our best work is making sure that certain things don't come into their minds. The moment you know that you're a winner and you believe it, the devil is a problem. The moment you know that when you're an achiever and you believe it, there's a problem. But abanye information say, can you please do some reading? Can you please know what's happening around you? Can you please know what's happening even current affairs? President American ban. Seriously. North Korea wants to bomb the USA and Russia is threatening to invade the US, and if the US is invaded, all of our lives go down with it, and people don't know. But ask them who is the latest person to be introduced on a SOP, they know, but that doesn't run their lives. The president is going to be elected and is going to give us policies that determine whether ogogo bethu labokhulu bethu bathole pension yabo or not, whether the 15 billion that disappeared is going to come back or not, and stuff like that. Because 15 billion is like 2.5 years of planning for us, 2.5 years of salaries and planning for us. Our budget is 4.5 billion, 15 billion can run this country for 3 years without anyone being charged a tax. That's a lot of money, and I'm concerned. And people are not concerned. And people don't care. And they say, what? We are not part of this. We are not. Last thing, above all, Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 7. It's my favorite. Trust God from the bottom of your heart. It's the message, paraphrase. Huh? Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Listen to God's voice in everything you do and everywhere you go, in every business deal you strike, in every client you talk to. We don't just go over and sign deals. We spend the night praying. We spend the day praying. Say, God, there's this one who wants my services. What should I do with them? Because other people will come and eat up what you have built. There's a partner who wants to come into my business. Is it the right one? Tinasli advantage is serious. Because lo muntu obona lapho ungabona khona. So our businesses are secure. Now ungela business, which would service ongayisebenzisi. So it's there, but you've never used it. He's the one who will keep you on track. Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Hey, manje university nizahamba, that's none of your business. Uma mthenga yenza ama-receipt book ngenza konke, all ama-clients. Ama-receipt book abakhona, yonke into is properly branded, is properly done. Liyakhumbula khuluma ama-churches avaliwe eKenya recently. Liyakwazi ukuthi ayivalelwane. Also I discovered after some time, kwathiwa there's not enough parking space. Kwathiwa ama-toilet kuyawule-toilet one labantu abangu-200 ku-service, kuyabe kulani, kwafaka ama-standards government and they shut them down. So part of those reasons of shutting them down, you might say the devil is working, but should the church not have standards? And for us to have a parking lot, you need to be working and paying your tithe. If you're not making money, you don't have a business, we cannot leverage ourselves on that. They will shut us down. I wanted to convince you that money is not a small issue. It's a big issue. And that you can make it and anyone can make it. But you have to learn how to keep it and how to grow it. Don't assume you know it all. Run to God and run from evil. We can't do without them. Die and wait and see. Hey, church level, they can't do without me. You think we will stop because you are dead. No, we continue. Let me, if I die, people keep going. Don't think you're indispensable. You don't know it all. Find help from others. Mina ngiyakufisa the day, and thank you very much for organizing talks like this. Ngiyafisa the day when Lopengula comes with Pumula and Nketa and Kadini, we sit down, we say, guys, Lopengula, we've raised $20,000. You guys say you've got $15,000. What can we do for our communities to make the gospel work? I want to see that. Let's come together and make our own bank where people don't go and get $100, $200 to start flea market stands. From these loan sharks, they charge them 45%. Why don't we as a team, $100 azoyithatha kithi at 5%, engayithatha imali yankhona siyilandelele, simonithe ibhizinesi yankhona siyethenga kiyo futhi ikhule beqhawula abanye abantu. We say we can't do anything.
Wow.